Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Kickoff 92. For the next hour, we'll be talking to the area high school football coaches and their captains, and we'll be talking about the prospects for the upcoming high school football season. Our first segment is Shelton. Let's introduce right now the head football coach for the Shelton Gales, Tony Branca, and two of his captains, Bobby Ayer and Jeff Pictionary.
Gentlemen, welcome. Tony, I know the school calendar has really made a difference in practice. Has it affected you, the idea of the double sessions and not being able to get out?
Well, it has helped a little bit in the ruling this year with the use of a football in the first hour of practice in our conditioning week. So we have been able to get something out of that first week of practice aside from just conditioning the kids. This year we've only been able to have one and a half days of double sessions. So as far as the banging and getting ready for scrimmages and preparing yourself real early for the scrimmages, we really haven't had that much time, and it showed in our scrimmage the other day. We really started off a little slow, and it took about a half of the scrimmage for us to really get the feel of contact against other people.
Coach, you know, a lot of coaches are concerned about the idea of spring practice also, the limitation of the spring, the fact that you don't have an opportunity to play someone, and the other sports are able to carry over through the summer, basketball, hockey, all of these others. Do you think something should be done to help spring practice, especially with the school calendar being moved up on you?
Well, the change from the 15 days to 10 days, really, I have no feelings towards that. I mean, it's a good move, really, because you're only looking for a certain few things in spring practice. But for the kids to come out in springtime, to be able to play someone other than yourself at the end of your spring ball would be a big boost for the kids during that practice session. It gives them something to look forward to. And plus, as a coach, you get a chance to see your team on a full-scale level. You know, normally right now you split the team up in half and you try to make it as even as possible and you try to evaluate each of the players, but you really can't evaluate your offense and your defense against an opposing team. So I would like to see us be able to go against someone at the end of spring practice.
It is tough to evaluate your own people. Bobby, I know you're a captain of 3 sports. It's something that it really is an honor for you. Have you found it difficult to concentrate on all 3 and to be able to give to each coach what they want from you in the out-of-season programs?
Yeah, it's a little difficult because I've got lifting and spring football in the summer, and I've got summer basketball and baseball games to go to. But I try my best to get to each place every day. So I'm pretty sure the coaches are happy with me, the way I've been going to everything.
Do you have a girlfriend, or has she left you for, because that's a tough schedule to put in that kind of time and still be able to concentrate on it?
I have a girlfriend, but she knows where her place is.
Whoa. Whoa. That's a tough one.
Let's talk to Jeff for a moment, because Jeff is one of the 4 captains. Let me just mention at this time too that the other 2 captains for the Gales for this 1992 football season who aren't with us this evening are Ronnie Gaitis and Rob Johnson. Jeff, you played mostly defensive tackle, and you started for the Gales last year. Both ways this year?
Both ways this year, yes.
Do you have any preference whether you?
Not really. I give my all on both of them. I enjoy playing both. Really have no preference.
You know, I think one thing is, as you assess the Gales this year, the last couple of years you played with a lot of fellas who played since they were sophomores, and now I think you're going to be expected to take more of a leadership role.
Definitely. We had, like, you know, of course, with the Housatonic League champs last year, we had a lot of kids who have, you know, been playing since their sophomore year. And there are a lot of kids this year who do have to step up and fill their roles, because there were a lot of good departing players from last year.
And let's switch for a moment to the offense, and we're going to get a chance to look at someone that brings a smile to Coach Branca's face. At all times, we're going to be taking a look at a film clip in the Derby game last year, the Thanksgiving Day game. Johnny Eason, and this happened to be the handoff and the first score against the Red Raiders on Thanksgiving. And Coach, what can you say about a young man like John? This is going to be his 3rd year starting as in the backfield. And not only that, John also saw action as a freshman in the backfield, saw some spot duty.
Can we get another year eligibility after this year?
He's a great kid.
He is a great kid. John is a good running back. He has the thing that I like most about him is in that type of runner, you normally see a lot of east-west type running. John makes his cuts and he gets himself upfield. You know, he has that great ability of stopping on a dime and avoiding those blocks. And up till now, he's trying to get back into the rhythm. You know, he's working behind a completely different offensive line, so he has to get himself adjusted to the type of blocking that he sees up in front. And we expect John to be John. John has that natural ability. It's not something that we had to teach him, so we expect John to go out and do just the same as he did last year.
You know, Coach, is there any chance that we could see John defensively this year, or would you just prefer to keep him on offense? Because I know he can play in the secondary for you.
We may put him in the rotation somewhere. With our defensive secondary, we try to get a rotation so that everybody can get a rest every once in a while. We don't have a lot of depth in all of our positions. We're down in numbers this year a little bit, so you may see him back there. John likes to hit. You know, as much as people just see him carrying the football, he'll hit you just the same as he would as if he was carrying the ball.
And before, of course, we talked with Bobby Ayer here, and we have some film on Bobby in a game against the Seymour Wildcats last year. This will be the upcoming clip we have will be Bobby running out of that fullback spot and John behind him, and you'll see a little bit of second effort that this young man gives, and he's been in that backfield since his sophomore year too.
Bobby, has the fact that you have Mr. Eason behind you, do you think that's helped you not only blocking-wise but opening holes for you?
Yeah, definitely, because the defense is expecting him to run outside, and it opens up the middle for me to run inside, so they really don't know how to defend both of us.
It's a tough chore for any defensive coordinator. I know, Jeff, with Bobby and Mr. Easton in the backfield, has that allowed the offensive line maybe to come together a little bit? How about some of those people on the offensive line? You've got excellent size. What about some of those other young men?
I think our offensive line, with Johnny behind us, we know that, you know, we have a good runner. And with Johnny, though, you do have to block for him because, you know, he's a type of runner who likes to dance and jump around. And you know, I think we do have the offensive line this year that's got to do the job. And we have a couple kids who do have the experience, and a couple kids who I feel will step up.
Without putting you on the spot, who are some of the young men that we can look for?
We got a junior this year, Jamie White. He's got to be our center. He's a first-year player. He's stepping up this year. We have Ronnie and myself on the right side, Ronnie being guard, me and myself being tackle. On the left side, we have Joe Corus at guard and Tony Sula, who is another junior at left tackle.
It's a good group of young men.
I think we also ought to talk at this time. Tony, you had a quarterback for 2 years. He's since graduated Danfield. Let's talk about the quarterback situation for Shelton this year.
It was a tough race. Right. Both seniors, Rob Johnson and Steve Miller, they're two different styles of quarterbacks. They have Steve has the ability to read defenses very well and throw the ball a little better than Rob does, but Rob can also hand off, and if there's nothing there, he'll take it himself. He's a running back in himself. So right now we're going to go with Steve Miller because he has the ability to do both, and he'll be our starter for the season. Tony,
here's a question that you are lucky because you're the first area football coach for me to ask this, and that is, who are the team or teams to beat in the Housatonic this year?
All of them. All of them. The league this year, I think, is very, very balanced. There's very few teams that
usually
obviously, no coach can take a team lightly, but I'll start right from the top and say Seymour, Derby, Brantford, Cheshire's always tough. Sheehan always gives us a hard time. We always have tough games with Amity. We can't take anybody lightly. I just think that it's going to be a very tough race for the championship this year, and I don't doubt very much that the league championship has a loss or two underneath their belt. There may even be co-champs this year.
Thank you very much, Coach Branca, Bobby Ayer, Jeff Piscineri. We'll be right back with our next segment right after this word.
And fellow mountain goats, this year's recipient of the treasured Black Horn Award, Richard Lynch. Come on up here, Dick. What are you doing this weekend that's so important you can't take a little time to test your home for radon? After all, it is the second leading cause of lung cancer, and a radon test kit is inexpensive. You could pick one up on your way to the lodge.
Welcome back to Kickoff 92. With this segment, we have the Amity football coach, Len Butch Marazzi, and his three captains for this football season, Bob Marlowe, Brett Cox, and Brad Chernovitz. And let's take a look at Brad Chernovitz hooking up with Brett Cox in the first half of last year's game against the Shelton Gales. On a rainy evening, Chernovitz throwing it, getting it out to Cox. Watch a little special second effort by the tight end Brett Cox, getting away from a few of the Shelton defenders and going for that extra yardage.
Coach's passing game going to have to be part of this offense this year in order to put some points on the board?
Without a doubt, this year we're going to be very, very young up front, and I think that our experience lies at quarterback. Brett is at tight end, and Bobby now at fullback. We're going to have to put the ball in the air.
Bobby, has the adjustment going to fullback been a big thing for you, or have you been able to move into without many problems?
Well, it's been very big, actually, because I'm more of a defensive player. I really never played that much offense, so it's been real big. And position really is still up for grabs, but I'm coming along all right. I'm picking it up, I think, as well as I can.
What do you think you bring to the fullback position from defense?
I could block all right. That's running. I'm not a real great runner, but blocking, I think that's why I'm there.
Brett, you've had a move now to the defensive position of linebacker from tight end. Is that all, or from defensive end? Has that been an adjustment for you?
Not really, not with the hitting aspect or anything of that. It's just like reading the guards and stuff and just being more disciplined. And then instead of a defensive end where you're more loose.
Coach has mentioned that you're going to be young this year. Have you guys, as captains and seniors, been able to try and bring the young kids along at all? Is there anything you're trying to do to help them out?
Yeah, we're trying to keep up their hopes and stuff. We had a rough game the other day, and we're just trying to keep them up and, you know, just get them going, have a lot of enthusiasm.
Brad, let me ask you, as the quarterback for the team, this is your second year as a starter. You've also started in the secondary at safety for 3 years. Do you have an advantage as a safety, the fact that you play quarterback and reading the plays when the opposing team has the football?
Yeah, I feel it's a great advantage because I get to know the receivers' patterns on bootleg. I get to know what they're going to do and read the quarterback's eyes better.
You know, we want to mention, too, to our viewers right now, the segment before this, we had Bobby Ayer from Shelton, and Bobby had the distinction of this year being the captain in 3 major sports at Shelton High School. I want to mention to our viewers, Brad, a tremendous honor for you, the fact that not only are you a captain of the football team, you're a captain of the baseball team and basketball team. Quite an honor.
Thanks.
Coach, you mentioned that you're going to be young. Offensive line, what does it look like for you right now in that area, because I know that's going to be very important if you do attempt to throw the football?
Right now, it is like musical chairs, to be honest. We have a lot of young people. We don't have one person coming back that has taken a snap in the offensive line other than Brett. And we're making a lot of mistakes, but we do have a lot of young people who are fighting it out for the positions, and we're just hoping that by the time we get ready for Derby, we'll have some people, you know, in place.
You know, I want to talk about that Derby game in just a moment, but before that, we're going to go to a tape. I was talking with Brad a moment ago about his ability to read on defense from the safety spot, and also in this game against Shelton last year, we're going to see Brad Chernovitz step in front of the intended receiver, make a nice read, and pluck off the ball. Brad might even have a record for interceptions at Amity, for all I know, because he's intercepted quite a few.
I would believe now he's well over 20. I know he had quite a few last year, and the year before he had a great year also.
Do you happen to know the record offhand, Coach? Or?
No, I don't really, to be honest with you, but I'm sure if I start getting close to it, Brad will let me know, so I'll be all set.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that first game. We know in the Housatonic League that you have the rotating schedule, so this is another sequence coming up this year. You have a rather tough opponent. You have to play them in their own ball yard, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's tremendous. I mean, I think it's just going to be a great night, regardless of what happens. When I came to Amity 5 years ago, I said to the guys that we want to play in big games. And what a better way to start than to play Derby. I mean, they have a great tradition, a great program. We've battled them every year since I've been here, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a Thursday night, the only game in town. Should be a good crowd, and we're young. It's going to be a lot of excitement, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I know we're going to be there. We're going to be excited about it, and we're going to play our hardest. And
it happens to be our first game of the high school football season on telemedia. It's a natural.
I told our young kids, I mean, we have 22 sophomores on the team, and a lot of them are going to have to play. When I ever told them it was a TV game, I mean, they don't realize that we play on TV, and that's just going to be a great experience for everyone, and hopefully, you know, we'll put on a good show.
You know, Coach, speaking about the fact that you are young and everything, are there any newcomers to the team, any players out that you really didn't anticipate coming out, and any young men that can help you that weren't there last year in Amity football?
No, to be honest, we pretty much knew going in who we were going to have. Our problem was just experience-wise. We're extremely young. We have a kid by the name of Eric Johnson who plays defense and offensive line. I think he's going to be an exceptional player in his day as he comes along. You know, Todd Raskin is doing a great job for us. He's coming back from a shoulder injury last year that we lost him for the whole year. But I mean, you know, we returned 2 starters on offense and 3 on defense. We graduated 17 seniors. We have our work cut out for us.
Brett, and I'll address this to all of you too, but Brett, has the fact that you haven't been able to have double sessions, I know sometimes players love that idea, but do you think it's made a difference in the ability of your team to move along considering you're so young?
Yeah, I think it made a big difference with double sessions. They're tough and all. You always dread waking up in the morning, but you get a lot out of it. Like you have more time to prepare things. There's more teaching involved. And like it's rush without the doubles.
Bobby, you feel the same way, or is it? Do you feel the team can overcome that?
Yeah, well, triples and doubles in the past always get you ready for the scrimmages and whatever. A lot more teaching. Now we had 2 days of doubles, went right into school, so we didn't have much time to get prepared, especially with a young team. So I don't know, it could have hurt us.
Brad, let me ask you, as a two-way starter for Amity. Do you have any preference? Do you like to play offense as opposed to defense, or do you like them equally?
I like them equally, both the same.
What about the 3 sports? What comes on top?
Football.
Or is it the one that football comes on top?
That doesn't have anything to do with the fact that we're on set here and we got this.
I got to go home with him. He's big.
Oh, okay.
Coach,
go ahead.
Let me we talked to Coach Branca about the fact that the doubles are very limited. You've also been reduced in the spring with your spring practice time, and the kids really don't have anything to look forward to. Other sports are able to play really all summer and all the time. Do you think it's hurt football, the fact that this early start and this limitation in the spring has taken place?
You know, traditionally, football, for whatever reason, seems to be the sport that anytime they're trying to change rules and cut dates, they always do it with football. Well, exactly as you said, basketball, baseball, people continue to play year-round, but yet with football, they always seem to try to pin our ears back. It has definitely hurt us. Spring, we should be allowed to play a game at least. I think that would really benefit us, but we're not allowed to. And now cutting back, going back to school early with the Labor Day calendar this year, there's not much you can do. But, we're all in the same boat. We're concerned about our kids. We're concerned about them getting injured. And sometimes we need that time to prepare them physically and mentally for what's ahead. And I don't know if we're getting that right now.
Coach Len Butch-Marazzi, thank you very much. And we'll be right back with Kickoff 92 and our next segment right after this word.
Children were caught in the crossfire of violent crime. How much longer will you let this go on? Call this number now. We'll send you information on how you can protect your children from crime in your neighborhood. Together, we will take a bite out of crime.
Welcome back, everyone, to this segment of Kickoff 92. With us is the Dean of the Valley High School football coaches, Craig Peters of the Naugatuck Greyhounds, and his 3 captains for this 1992 football season, Paul Luckey, Jesse Slocum, and Kevin Cretella. Welcome, gentlemen. And let's go right away to a clip of Paul Luckey in a game against Walcott last year. And Paul, one of the big mainstays in the offensive backfield for the Greyhounds, and this fine effort out of that wing tee look, big bruising fullback, and we said that a number of times last year when we covered Naugatuck High School football.
Coach, you've got two excellent backs here in Paul and Jesse. And let's talk a little bit right away about the offense, because I had a chance to see it a little bit yesterday. What would you call this? Is it a wing tee? You run a couple slots in there with a little bit of motion and a lot of power.
It's a multiple wing tee formation, sometimes with two backs, sometimes with one back. But you'll see us in a wing, you'll see us in a slot, you'll see us in double wing, double slot. We try to have multiple sets to create some problems for the defense.
Jess, how do you feel about it? You're in motion a little bit. You're getting a chance to run with Paul and yourself, and I know Kuzma and a couple other guys that carry the football. You always have 3 or 4 backs that can really run with the football.
Yeah, I like that. It's very good because we got a lot of backs that can run the ball, and it, you know, opens it up, you know.
Kev, what about that offensive line to run in front of a couple guys that can carry the football? Has it made your job and the other linemen easier?
Yeah, basically it did. Our line's not that big this year, but we got guys.
I don't know. I saw you yesterday. You guys got some size.
Well, not like usual, but our line just basically wants to get the job done, stay low, and drive people off the ball.
I think you've got an excellent line. You guys are going to have great success this year if you stay together.
A lot of the guys got heart, and they want to.
Who are some of the guys on that offensive line beside yourself?
We got Chuck Paddock at left tackle, Dave Levine at left guard, and Big Bert Hughes at center, and Shane York at right guard.
Coach Peters, let's talking about the backfield. Let's go back to the quarterback situation. You always seem to have that quarterback ready to step in and assume the nod. And of course, Mike Dietelbaum, fantastic quarterback last year. He's been graduated. Who goes for the Greyhounds as quarterback this year?
Well, as you mentioned, Mike was a big loss to us. He was such a great leader on the field, and especially in practice. He was never a bad practice player. And this year, we're fortunate to have Scott Mastropetro, and Scott is only a junior, and he's ready to take over the job. He's got the skills, he's got the confidence, and he's got the kids around him that can do the job, and I think he's going to have a real nice season at quarterback. He's a fine young man.
Craig, what about the passing game? Because you lost your top receiver from last year.
We have some fine young receivers out there. We have McGettigan and Hayward, Stango and McGowan. And our running backs also, they can catch the football, and we're throwing the ball around to everybody.
And you know, it seems to me the last year, looking at your offense, and from 2 years ago, you got an awful lot of that offense. To, you know, a lot of deception, a lot of misdirection, and pretty much you're saying you're doing basically the same things, or more, more things off the offense this year. You really opened it up last year.
Yeah, we opened it up somewhat last year, and we want to stay with that again this year. And Scotty's doing a good job with that because he can throw on the run, he can drop back pass, and we do have the fine running game, and the kids understand the trap game, so it's working well.
Paul, I know you're not only that starting fullback, but you've, on the other side of the ball, also defense at linebacker. How does that defense look? Because it's always been a strong point for the Naugatuck Greyhounds.
We have some new people stepping in. Dave Levine at the other linebacker position, and Mike McGowan, who sat out last year with an injury, he came back. And we have Jesse, and we have Kevin Kuzma at monster back, and Brandon Hayward at the other corner position. We look, we're young, but I think we can improve a lot more. And
you guys are known around the state for the ability to play a tough 50. I mean, you play that as tough as anybody plays it. Do you enjoy playing the 50?
Yeah, I enjoy the 50.
The linebacker look and the ability to step up, take people on. Jess, how about you?
Yeah, I do. It's very good because you could like read your keys and everything, and it works really well.
Let's give Jesse some equal time now, because we're going to take a look at a clip also against Walcott last year. And this young man could, in addition to Mr. Lucky, Jesse Slocum could run the football. Let's watch him on this play. Following fullback Sedlock, and Jesse squirming for some extra yards out of that Naugatuck offense. Coach, what about some help from the sophomore class? You have any players that you think might move into the lineup this year?
Mike Perella looks good as a young sophomore. Jay Seghetti looks good as a young sophomore. Todd Speranzini looks good. We've got some good young kids. I don't want to leave anyone out, but we do have a good nucleus in that sophomore class who are beginning to contribute.
You know, one other issue that I want to touch on with you. You know, a lot of times in the lower Naugatuck Valley, when you talk about the Naugatuck Valley League, and you talk about teams such as Wilby and Crosby, there might be the inevitable snicker. Fact of the matter, though, is that these people have not been paying attention to these Waterbury schools, and I want you to comment on this. They have come up with some pretty fair football teams recently. Matter of fact, they caused you some problem last year.
Yeah, Crosby and Wilby were very, very competitive last year throughout our league. Wilby beat us. We played Crosby in a very close game, beating them. The coaching staffs in Waterbury are doing a very, very good job, and their athletes are very good athletes. They got some real fast kids there and some strong kids.
That leads me also into the question then. Who would you see as the team or teams to beat from what you know, what they have coming back for this year in the Naugatuck Valley League? In your division and in the small division?
Well, Ansonia has the Tinney boy coming back. Sacred Heart has 2 fine running backs coming back up there. Watertown has virtually everybody coming back on their team. I think the league's wide open. It's going to be very competitive. Wilby has a nice football team again. It's going to be very, very competitive and wide open.
You know, we talked a moment, we mentioned Kevin Kuzma's name, and he's going to be a big part of Naugatuck football this year. Let's take a look for this film clip against the Walcott Eagles. Kevin Kuzma stepping in front of the intended receiver, making a fine interception on the play. You might notice also this is a game, he had a broken thumb in this football game. He was playing with that thumb bandaged up. So Kevin, a big part of the football team.
Kevin's a great competitor. He's a junior, and he can play almost anywhere on the football field.
Fellas, double sessions, you haven't had a great many. Has it affected the ability of your football team to grow? We've asked that of all the kids.
No, our practices were long. We didn't have breaks in between. We just had long practices. Everybody worked hard during that long time we were out on the field, and I think we had enough practice.
You know, one area I want to touch on, when I think of Naugatuck football, I always think of a good kicking game. And who's going to be doing the kicking for Naugatuck this year?
Well, Scott Masterpetro is our punter. And as far as kicking off goes, Paul's our kickoff man. And we haven't settled on a PAT man right now, but we'll be working on that shortly.
Mm-hmm. Coach, has the fact of the doubles and the limitation of the spring practice, has that affected the ability of you to get your football team ready to play?
Well, with the doubles, Naugatuck has always gone back for years now prior to Labor Day to school. So this is not new to us, not new to our system. We've gone back and we've adjusted through that throughout the years. It does have an effect, yes. I think basically emotionally, you have to bring these kids along and you have to show them what it's all about. And you want them to be ready for that hard challenge of competition, the game competition. The game should be easier than practice. That's my philosophy. And that's tough to do without doubles.
Would a spring game help an outside opponent in a spring game, one game?
A spring scrimmage would help. I do believe they're cutting down on the number of days this year for spring practice from 15 to 10. And you still have to have the 3 days without pads, which only leaves 7 days with pads. You're always trying to do what's right for the kids. That's first. And you don't want to get anybody banged up with only 7 days. I think the other way was better with 15 days and 3 days with no pads, and then a small inter-squad or a small low-key scrimmage at the end would certainly add to the motivation for spring practice for the kids. And you're always trying to do what's best for the kids.
Coach, I have to cut you off right now. Thank you very much, Coach Craig Peters. Your 20th year as the head football coach up at Naugatuck High School. Good luck this year, Coach. We'll be right back with our next segment right after this message.
Used in the world in the last 40 years, none had more power than this one.
Welcome back, everyone. This segment of Kickoff 92, we're happy to present to you the head football coach of the Ansonia Chargers, Jack Hunt, his three captains for this season, Jason Tinney, Greg Soldra, and Jeff Press. And let's take a look at Mr. Tinney in action against New London in the Class S title game last year at Just Dow Field on the campus of Southern Connecticut State University. Rich Lester rolling out. He's going to dump off a short pass to Tinney, and Jason's going to do the rest. Watch this 9-9 effort, gymnastics-wise, diving into the end zone.
Coach, great athlete along with your other gentleman here, but is a great part of the offense going to be built around Mr. Tinney this year?
I believe we'll get the ball to Jason as much as possible this year. I think I know Jeff's not going to like to hear this, but we feel that he'll have to carry the bulk of the offense at the early stages anyway.
Jason, how does it feel to have that kind of pressure put on you to maybe carry the football 25 to 30 times?
I don't know if I'll get it that much, but it feels pretty good knowing that I'll get the ball.
What about the rest of the backs, along with Jeff, who's going to block for you? Who else in that backfield can we expect to see in the opening game?
I'm pretty sure you'll see George Lassou getting the ball, and Mark Gessner probably.
That's good. What about now, sitting next to you, you got an offensive lineman here who's a pretty good football player. Greg, what about the people on the offensive line? They're going to have to open the holes for the guys that are on your left and right.
Well, we got a lot of new people this year, filling in, because we lost quite a few linemen last year in our senior class, but we have Greg Listowskis at the opposite tackle from me. He's doing a good job right now. He's coming along. Then we got Lucian Perillo, who's showing a lot, and Jason Sharkey, who's been there for 2 years now. He's doing real good. And then we have junior Jamie Leahy, who's going to be at linebacker with Jeff and also at guard. And then there's me, and then Parrish Edwards at tight end, who's doing real good. So we look pretty good along the line.
Coach, I know you've always had a very talented running back, going back to the Sharkies and all the way back. You've also had very good, talented quarterbacks. Can we expect to see the ball, that wide open offense that you usually play at Ansonia?
Well, we hope we're going to throw the ball as much as we have in the past. Right now, there's a battle going on for the quarterback spot with Pacheco and Timmy Phipps. So. We haven't made a decision at this point, but both of them looked real well and did real well in the scrimmage yesterday.
Jeff, let me ask you a question. You started at linebacker last year. Sophomore, that's where you really broke in. You broke in at linebacker, did a nice job for Ansonia 2 years ago. Did you expect to see a little more action offensively last year at the fullback? I know I did early on, but you had a senior ahead of you in Jamar Kelly. What about playing offense this year?
Yeah, well, last year Jamar's a really good fullback and he's a real well blocker. I figured I was going to play a little bit more than I did, but hopefully this year they'll be able to give me the ball a little bit more, and so it takes off some pressure off of Jason.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about Jason, we have just a little bit more film on Jason, also in that state title game at Just Dow Field. This is going to be a kickoff return against New London. Almost breaks it all the way.
Young kicking off and driving.
Jason takes that ball inside the 5-yard line. Love to have that speed.
Tinney on the near sideline showing.
Jack, there has to be a tremendous advantage for you because having Jason back there, you get that excellent field position.
Oh yeah, he's special teams are a big part of our game, and Jason does an excellent job back there on special teams. And whenever you start the ball in a game in good field position, that's it's a plus for you.
Coach, not only the offensive side, but I know you guys take a great deal of pride in that defense. You're still in the 50, and will you have many guys that have to go both ways for you?
Well, being as small school as we are, we always, you're always going to have guys that have to go both ways. We are a base 50 defense. That's our base defense, but we do play a little bit of 4 and some variations of the 5, and that's defensively this year. I think early on, again, that's going to have to carry us into the season. I think that's probably where most of our veterans are this year on defense. We have some excellent linebackers, and Craig has been doing a super job on the line. And again, that's probably where we'll have to hold up early on in the year.
You're also fairly strong in the secondary.
Yeah, we return Billy Lassou's back and Gessner, and we do have a little problem with the corner right now. We're looking for that third back right now. We have a few kids working in there.
Mm-hmm. Any pleasant surprises in the Ansonia camp? Do you have any newcomers to the team this year?
I think there's a lot of surprises, like Greg Listowskis, like they mentioned. We have a transfer student, Walter Smith, who's coming in, who's going to help us. But I think the biggest thing right now, and the surprise for us, is we have a nice group of young sophomores who are giving us, a good battle every day in practice, and able to have a good team to scrimmage against every day is a plus for us. And we've been working them quite a bit against the varsity, getting them ready also.
Let me ask Greg. Greg, and I commented on the fact that Jeff has been playing. You've really had an outstanding career at Ansonia High School, and you basically played defense as a sophomore. And since last year, your junior year, you've gone both ways. You have do you prefer playing offense or defense? What would you project in college for yourself?
Well, I think defense would be my best because sometimes it's hard getting to my blocks on offense, so I really prefer defense.
Getting to your blocks, Coach must be on you on that one.
Yeah.
It's tough getting there. There's somebody riding you. Fellas, has the fact that you haven't been able to have the double sessions affected the ability of your team to grow since you are a young football team? We'll ask Jason first.
I don't know.
Does double sessions make a difference? Do you think it make a difference to you?
I really don't think so. I mean, we've gotten some good time in with the time we've been able to have, and we had a triple session a couple days ago, and that gave us a good chance to get some playing time, play some offense, some defense, playing against the sophomores and JVs.
Jack, let's we touched upon it a little bit earlier in this segment. Let's talk about the receivers. First off, when you talk about the receiver, I think your top receiver is Gessner.
Correct.
And after Gessner, who can we look for?
Well,
catching the ball.
We have quite a few people. Parrish Edwards is probably grown up quite a bit, and he had to as a senior. Right now, he's had a real good spring. He's had a real good practice so far, and he's playing tight end. We have the Lynch boy is out, and I think he's gonna help us some. We have a kid Mahelsik out for the first. These are two first-year players, and they've been doing a real good job, and as well as Billy Lassou. So we do have quite a bit of top-notch receivers, and if we can keep getting the ball the way we have, we'll be able to throw it pretty well.
Quickly, need a quick answer to this: team or teams to beat in your league this year? I
think definitely Sacred Heart. I think everybody is touting Sacred Heart this year with the two fine backs they have. It's funny. I think the league is going to be pretty equal. I think they're probably the team, and then they're talking about Crosby, who had a very young team last year, and with a couple of good backs there. So
then you always have the Thanksgiving meeting with Naugatuck.
It's always Naugatuck. I mean, that's the big one for us.
Thank you very much, Coach Jack Hunt of the Ansonia Chargers. We'll be right back with our next segment on Kickoff 92 right after this word.
Have you seen my son? She asked me. Have you seen my son? He had a shining scar on his temple and rose-colored lips. Have you seen my son? She asked me. Have you seen my son?
Men, women, children, unjustly imprisoned, tortured, executed, or disappeared. You can help Amnesty International shine a light. Call 1-800-55-AMNESTY. It's your human right.
Welcome back, everyone. This segment of Kickoff 92. With us, we have the head football coach of the Seymour Wildcats, entering his 13th year as the head coach. Sorry, Coach, for mentioning that. And his captains for the 1992 football season, Mike Scorantino and Chad Landman. And let's take a look right off the bat with Seymour with their fine sophomore quarterback a year ago, Chris Kelly. And when he tucks it in, he's looking to throw the ball. He'll tuck it in now, and he'll scoot down the left sidelines. This is a game against the Shelton Gales last year. Chris brought it inside the 5 to about the 1-yard line. And we understand, in talking with Coach Sponheimer in the break, that there was an unfortunate situation with Chris Kelly in the first scrimmage against Jonathan Law, buddy.
Coach, we wanted to lead in with the fact that you had the luxury of having the young man back, and some other guys didn't show up with him, but now you tell us he's been injured. So how does it look for that quarterback position and the young football team at Seymour?
Well, as you say, we are a young football team. We graduated 17 seniors. We have 6 seniors back this year. One of the luxuries was that we did have a young quarterback, Chris Kelly, coming back, and a backup of Brian Schultz, and we anticipated a quarterback contest there. But Coach Keller also took care of that contest by going to the state championship in the baseball. And one of the young men, Brian Schultz, understood the situation that the farther they went in baseball, the less likelihood would be of a battle at quarterback. Yesterday in the Jonathan Law scrimmage, Chris got hit on the knee, and right now we're in sort of limbo as far as where that goes. And right now, Brian Schultz is working our football team as the quarterback.
Mike, I know you've got only 6 seniors. Have you and Chad had to really assume a strong leadership role with this group, especially with the young people?
Definitely. We get a lot of responsibility since we're only 6 of us, and we have to pretty much lead these guys through a lot of things. And, we take a lot of rap from a lot of things and make a lot of mistakes too, because we're young and inexperienced.
What about now? You're going to play defensive end. Who's going to be with you on that defensive front this year and for Seymour?
Well, I'm going to be pretty much on the right side most of the time, and on the other side, the other defensive end is going to be Jeff Tottenham. Chad's going to be on the line. Jeff Mullen going to be a linebacker. Jay Russell. And yeah, we got
a lot of new people in there. Huh?
Yeah, very young.
What about Chad now on offense? You're going both ways. You're going to play at tackle. What about some of the offensive linemen now that'll be there?
Well, we have Jeff Mullen coming back from the center positions last year. He's only a junior now, but he's probably our best out there right now, and he's working hard. And he's really taking a leadership role. At right guard, we have Jason Tracy. He's coming along really well, and me and him have been working side by side. I'm on the right tackle position, so it's working out pretty well. And we have young sophomore Kevin Simbathy working at left guard right there, and he's starting to come along. And left tackle right now, we have a sophomore in there, but it's basically a struggle over on the left side there, a big battle going on.
Coach Sponheimer, okay, let's say let's say you were to lose, of course, hope not, but let's say you were to lose Chris Kelly for any great length of time. It has to hurt your receiving core because Brian Schultz was going to be one of the receivers this year. Who else can we expect to see catching the ball for the Wildcats?
Well, Gary Parkasevich has had a great offseason, done all the things to make himself a better football player. And we've taken Gerald Morey, who was a backup tailback running basically the same class as Jacob Ray, and we've made him a receiver. And right now we feel we have Gary Parkasevich and Gerald Morey and Aaron Peck are having a battle for that position. When you are a young, inexperienced team, there are a lot of battles that are waged for different positions. And as Chad mentioned, at that tackle position, at left tackle, really is the final decision that has to be made. But we have Mike Klaczynski and Tom Magello who are both battling that out. I think we could have been hurt if we had to move Brian from a different position, because some of the younger kids have stepped it up a notch and are looking for a battle, because in the same sense, all these kids come back and say there's an awful lot of openings out there, where they might have came back last year and said, boy, there's an awful lot of seniors coming back. I have to say Chad and Michael have done an outstanding job, because basically it's tough for both of them being a captain. Neither of them were out there in a starting role last year consistently for us. Both of them had starts for us last year, but they've done an outstanding job being the leaders, and I think whatever comes forth, these two started that leadership role back in the weight room.
Coach, Brooks and Primavera carried the ball an awful lot over the last couple of years. Who's the tailback? Who's that fullback in the offense?
Well, right now, Mike and Jeff Tottenham are having a battle after yesterday's scrimmage. I think Michael stepped it up a notch. Prior to the scrimmage, Jeff was there, which makes for, but you know, as a coach, when you have two people that have, it's nice. Right now, Jacob Ray is a step above the rest of our tailbacks, but we look for Mike Skank to be able to spell him.
I'd like to talk about, in one of my notes, the kicking game. I consider Schultz one of the best kickers in the state.
Well, if you had to ask me right now what our strength is as a football team, I'd have to say it is our kicking game because of Brian Schultz.
after that, I would have to say we have better overall team speed than we've had at Seymour, but we're not as big as we've been at Seymour. But I think between the team speed and the possibility of Brian both on kickoffs and on punting the ball, we might be able to dictate a little something on field position.
Paul, okay, you're basically young. We know you lost all the seniors. Where do you see going into the year? Which is ahead, the offense, the defense? What would you project?
I would say right now, the kicking game. No, I'd have to say our offense is ahead of us. We're putting in a new defensive scheme because of the things we feel we can do with our personnel. We feel that our personnel dictates some changes defensively. So right now our offense is ahead of us. Plus in the spring, not having both quarterbacks, we did an awful lot of offensive work in detail at various positions that have put us that much farther ahead now.
You know, your opener is Brantford. Now, I think it's always remarkable that Brantford gives you trouble. Well, you could even the years you beat them for some reason. Then I could look at other teams that the Wildcats play, and they're on the top of the Housatonic League standings, and you do well against them. What is it about Brantford? And that's your opener too.
If you know, let me know. But I'm not sure. I don't know whether it's a long ride down to Brantford or what, or they just get up for us. But I think our boys will be ready for that football game this year. There were a few things that have inspired them to look forward to the Brantford football game. I'm sort of glad we're opening up with Brantford this year.
And Paul, go ahead, buddy.
Coach, you know, the fact that you're young, sometimes you may have the luxury of playing 18 or 19 or 20 kids, especially if you've got that competition. Are you going to have to play many kids both ways, or are you going to have the ability to play a lot of people?
I feel we'll have the ability to play a lot of people. Again, not knowing the strength of the league, how many of these people will be able to play in crunch time situations. It's easy to play a lot of people, but it's
nice to have somebody there
be competitive. And in the same sense, there's certain positions that with the scheme that we're doing that we might be able to get away with a notch below in certain situations. But what I like is everybody thinks they're the baddest one out there right now because you know, we're all young and inexperienced, and there's no back down from anybody. You mentioned Brooks and Primavera, and people used to look to make sure they knew where they were on the football field, or Jeff Carina, where was he lining up? I don't want him reading down on me. Everybody out there, there's nobody in fear of anybody right now, and it's made for a great working condition.
Coach Paul Sponheimer, good luck on this 1992 football season, and we'll be back with our final segment of Kickoff 92 right after this message. Good job.
What's the Media Arts Center?
What is the Media Arts Center?
What is the Media Arts Center all about?
Located on Audubon Street in New Haven, the Media Arts Center is the place to learn how to produce your own video and put it all together.
What is the Media Arts?
The Media Arts Center? The place for community organizations to produce compelling messages, document performances, fundraising, and training tapes. Join the Media Arts Center, a program of the Arts Council of Greater New Haven. Call 772-2788.
Welcome back, everyone, and our final segment on Kickoff 92. We have the head football coach of the Derby Red Raiders, Charlie DeCenzo, and his captains for the 1992 football season, Dave and Roman, George Hay, and Sean Bittman. Coach DeCenzo, you're here this evening as the coach. I want to congratulate you because I'm sure most of our viewers know by now, last month you were named as the new principal at Derby High School. My question to you, how are you going to do it? Both jobs.
Well, I don't think it's as difficult as everyone seems to think. First of all, I felt I had a commitment to the kids. We went out for spring practice, and I've always talked to the kids about commitment. And, you know, you make a promise to the team you're going to be there. When I was appointed in the middle of July 11th, I think it was, prior to that, in an interview, I spoke with Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Chesler, and the Board of Education. I explained my feelings, how I felt that I owed these kids, and that they've been very committed to me through the years, and I would like a shot at doing it. And if there were some things we can do internally in school to help me out. I've got some excellent assistants, first of all, in football, and everybody knows that. Maybe they don't know my assistants as well in school, but I've got 2 excellent assistants in school. Franny Cirillo just came on as one administrative assistant. I have my wife, Ann, who's the second administrative assistant. She may be the boss, to tell you the truth. That was one part of it. Another part is that I was very fortunate. Last year, we had decided as a coaching staff that we wanted to install a study hall system for our kids during the football season. So we talked to the kids during the year, and we told them what we were going to do. And so now, immediately after school, rather than running down to the field and trying to get ready, we put them into a study hall with the coaches, and they stay there for 45 minutes and do some homework, and if they need extra help somewhere, they can go get it. And we had this all in line prior to my getting the job, so this made it a little easier for me, because now I'm still in the office after school. I can't run out of there, obviously, so I'm there, and we work from that point. And as I said, Derby High School is a school of 500 students. It's not, 1,500 or 1,000. So that helps too. I think it's a unique situation. I know it's not the norm, and I hope people don't think I'm doing this in an arrogant fashion at all, because I'm not.
No, anyone who knows you, Charlie, would not even think that.
I feel it's a challenge, and I'm very happy that the Board of Education gave me this chance, and I don't know. I thought I saw a few of the kids with signs, "Get rid of them." But,
which job do they want to get rid of?
Well, I'm not sure yet.
All right. Well, let's talk about football now. And when I think of Derby football for this year, the first player that's going to come to mind is one of your captains here. He's been playing since his sophomore year, and his brother came before him, Johnny. And Dave is just an outstanding player for you, and we have him in action here against the Seymour Wildcats in last year's game at Ryan Field.
David, you play both halfback, quarterback, and you're going to be playing halfback now. With a chance possibly of going to that quarterback position, is it going to make a difference for you?
Not really. I'd rather play halfback. Quarterback, I really don't like it, to tell you the truth. I'd rather run the ball, trying to stay in my brother's footsteps. So,
has that been a big challenge for you to stay?
Yeah, I've been always looking up to him. Now I have my chance.
And you've certainly performed outstanding over the course of the last couple of years. Hopefully you don't have to go to that quarterback position, but you do a darn good job. So don't ever push that out of the way. It's nice to be in charge too.
Let's talk about that quarterback situation then. Yep.
Right now, we have 2 young sophomores that are vying for the quarterback spots: Stephen Tilke and Chris Ruther. Both of them are doing an outstanding job. We had spring practice, and in one regard, it was a fortunate situation. John D. took his baseball team to the state championship, which we were all very proud of. But it gave me an opportunity to work an awful lot with the young kids, and I think that's been a blessing. Both kids got an awful lot of work during that spring practice drill, and they did a nice job in our spring game. And they both worked relatively hard over the summer, and they prepared themselves. And we came in, and I talked to Dave, and I said, Dave, you got to be ready just in case. But we had a little scrimmage last night with Hand, and I thought the 2 boys we just split it, half a game apiece, and both of them did remarkably well. Right now, I wouldn't say that's the part I'm worried about right at this point. They did a great job, so I'm very pleased with that situation.
Buddy already mentioned it, and we're going to see Dave also in action again against Seymour last year, and we still have this option of this young man throwing the pass, because in this clip we're going to see a halfback option pass when David's going to go throw it downfield to one of your outstanding receivers last year, Rich Lord. This also against Seymour, and so we always got that element in the Derby offense too.
Also now, David, you may be throwing to the guy next to you. Coach talked about you moving down the line. How's it feel now, George, to be an offensive receiver?
Well, I like it better. I get to take part in the offense a little bit, maybe catch a couple of passes. I like it better than line, Just I
have to stop you. Your coach must feel, though, if you're a tight end, you're still in the line, so you got to block.
Oh yeah, get some blocking in there.
But George, the interesting thing with George now is that you've moved out. You started last year on the offensive line at guard. Towards the end of the year, there were some changes on the offensive line to tackle. Just moving out.
Just moving out to tight end now.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. I like it a lot.
What about now? You've become a center. You had that line. Has George moving out made a difference with that offensive line interior side?
Not really, because we've had the younger kids stepping in to take his position as he moves out towards the tight end position. We have Angelo Deruba and Adam Saylor playing guards for us this year, and 2 seniors, Claudio Mendez and Richard Kovacs, at tackles. So we filled the positions pretty well, and we've pretty much adapted to the changes.
How about on defense now? You're going to play defense also. Has that does that, I know in Derby, I shouldn't say create a problem because you guys go both ways all the time, but has it been a challenge to be able to go both ways for all of you guys?
No, not really, because most of our lives we've been going both ways, ever since we started playing football, so we're pretty much used to it now.
What about you, George?
Same thing. It's not, just used to it by now, playing both ways.
And I know David.
Yeah.
As much as you can get out there and play.
It is tough going both ways.
Yeah.
Coach, let me ask this question. Last year, a rarity in Derby football, losing record. Any special, and that's after well over 20 years of winning seasons in football. Any special incentive this year?
I don't feel like it's a pressure on me, or I hope the kids don't feel it's a pressure on them. I look at last year, and we had a couple of unfortunate situations. That's part of football.
The loss of Ben Bartone.
The loss of Ben was it was a devastating blow to our team. But that's part of high school football. I mean, we don't recruit. We can't trade on the open market and all that stuff. I mean, these are the kids you have in your school, and I would be belittling the other kids that filled in for Ben if I didn't think any other way. I mean, they did an outstanding job. We came close in a couple games, 8-7 with Cheshire, a good Cheshire team like that. And that's just part of it. This year it's a whole new outfit. Just like last year when we came off a state championship team, I didn't say to them, you've got to match what they did. I mean, that's not fair to the kids. So, there's a whole new ball game. The sheet's white right now, so we're having fun.
Thank you, Coach DeCenzo. We'll be right back, Buddy Chernovitz and myself, with some closing comments on Kickoff 92 right after this word.
Mrs. Washburn, I'm Gerald Fry's mother. Oh, don't you work nights? I traded shifts. Mrs. Washburn, about Gerald, I wish I could help him learn better, but I'm no genius. Well, you don't have to do the homework, but ask to see it. Let him show off what he learned. Praise him more. Show you care. You think we got a chance here? A good chance. Show me a parent who really cares, and I'll show you a kid who can learn.
Well, Buddy, we start the season on telemedia, our high school football game of the week. We started down at Derby. The Amity Spartans going to Derby. The second week of the season, we have Ansonia traveling to Shelton. We got a lot of exciting high school football games in between. We conclude matters of regular season, that is, Naugatuck visiting Ansonia on Thanksgiving Day. How do you see the high school football season this year?
Well, I think Coach Charlie DeCenzo and his players summed it up, along with Coach Paul Sponheimer. There are an awful lot of young football players getting ready to step up and to get their opportunity to play. David said he wants to follow, and Roman said he wants to follow in his brother's footsteps, and I think that's what high school Valley football is. A lot of young men, they watch their idols play, the young men, and they want to get their opportunity to play, and a lot of guys are going to get their chance starting in a couple of weeks as we open up, as you said, Amity against the Derby Red Raiders.
And we'll be looking for you at the football games, and that'll wrap things up this evening for Kickoff 92. I'm Ed Clements with Buddy Chernovitz. Good night, everyone.